Hello everyone and welcome back in our third part of multi-axis tutorial, and we are programming our screen holder. So let's go straight to our first operation, and we are going to machine this pocket inside here. So navigate to toolpaths and multi-axis gallery and then select parallel. I'm going to bring default settings. Okay, I don't want any settings from this toolpath here. I'm going to use 6 mil. Let's put my feeds and speeds. Okay, I'll put rapid retraction. We don't need holder because it's already selected. And stock, I'm not going to add any stock. Cut pattern, and I want my all cuts to be parallel to a curve, and as a curve I'm going to select the edge of that pocket. And the drive surface, I want to machine that, and this small wall around. Okay, so this, and this. Okay, and my step over, I'm going to put as 0.25. Okay. As well, my cutting method, I want to go using the true spiral. Okay, and let's move on to tool axis control, and this time I want to fix my angle to my Z axis. Okay, and in the collision control, I'm going to activate second level of my collision control, and I'm going to have all the parts of my tool active. And as an action, I want tilt the tool automatic when it hits a check surface, and I'm going to select the check surfaces. I'm going to flip it to the side and just put a window, something like that. That would be good enough. Okay, so I selected everything here inside that my tool could potentially hit. Okay, and I'm gonna leave everything else as it is, as a standard settings, and let's generate the toolpath and see how it looks like. Okay, it looks good. And let me just run quick verify, and we can see that Mastercam is tilting the tool to avoid the arms here. Okay. Okay, and now with our next toolpath, we are going to finish all the internal bits here, including the side of those internal part of arms on both sides, and also all that floor here, including the edge. And I'm going to use a different control of tool axis. Okay, so I'm going to create a point and drive my tool motion from that point. So let's navigate to wireframe, create a point. I want to be on the 3D, and I'm going to create it in the center of that edge here. Okay, so this is the tool. Of course, to keep things organized, I'm gonna create a new level. Okay, tool, okay, tool axis control for operation 16. Okay, so let me just put that. Okay, move it here. So we've got that point here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift using dynamic transform, and I'm going to put it maybe 200 mil up. Okay, so the cutting motion will be drive from that point. Okay, so that looks okay. I'm going to accept this. So this is my point for tool axis control. Now I'm going to select my next toolpath, and we will morph from one edge across all my surfaces to the other side. So let's navigate to toolpaths, and from the multi-axis gallery select morph. And this time I'm going to use 4 mil. Okay, I'm going to put my feeds and speeds. Okay, and I'm gonna skip those as I'm not gonna set anything in there. We've got the holder already. And in the cut pattern, I want my pattern to be curve, and let's select the curve. So I'm going to start from this edge here, reverse it, and okay, and I'm going to finish here. Okay, it's like the same point on the other side. And I'm going to go to the other side, and again starting from not this point, starting from this side here, and let's go one more step to the edge. Okay, and as my drive surfaces, I'm going to select all the faces that I want to cut. Okay, yeah, 2 small bits here and that. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, sorry. And those, okay. Now is everything selected, so I've got everything here up to this edge. And same on the other side, okay. And I'm going to, I can leave step over as a point 2. I'm going to use zigzag, okay, but I don't want to machine by lanes. I'm going to machine it by regions. So Mastercam will generate the cut as far as possible without retract, and then move to the another section, and then we'll machine to the end another section and move forward. Okay, and the tool axis control, I'm going to change to from point, and with the small arrow here I'm going to select our point, and as I said, the motion of the tool will be drive from that point, and select our point. Okay, and I don't need any collision control because I looked through the point to the each cutting point on the drive, and it shouldn't be any collision in there. So at the moment, let's leave it without. And linking, I got automatic, which is okay. And let's have a look. Okay. Okay, we have our toolpath, but why so many retractions? Something is not right here. Let me just have a closer look. Oh yeah, and the toolpath is going one way, other way. I must have picked something wrong with my surfaces, or actually from end to curve. I need to double check that, because it should be nice one direction zigzag toolpath and then sides. So let's have a look and investigate what went wrong. It's only one pattern here, one pattern here. So let's have a look what it is actually. Okay, so it's one line from this edge. Okay, that is okay. And here, oh, that is wrong. I've got the line selected, my curve, but also by accident I selected the face. Okay, so let's go back, rechain all, and let's select everything from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to go here, here, next, and this is what I want. Okay, so yeah, to that point. Okay, and let's now regenerate the toolpath and see if that made any difference to our pattern. Okay, oh yes, that is a lot better. Okay, yes, and as you see, the pattern is just a zigzag. Yes, okay, I like it. We'll run the verify operation later. The last toolpath, we were driving from the point. Okay, so every cut was from that point. Now we're going to use a different method of controlling the tool's axis, and we will drive the tool towards the point. Okay, so let's start it. I'm going to select Morph Toolpath again, navigate to our Multiaxis gallery and select Morph, and I'm going to reload parameters from default files. Okay, so let's pick the tool. I'm going to use this one. Okay, I'm gonna leave those as they are and move to cut pattern. And my pattern from, I'm going to select a, let's say, edge of that. Let's select the actually loop, and we'll select that loop. Okay, so I selected the top of that fillet. That'll be easier to see. Okay, now I'm going to select pattern 2, and using the loop I'm going to select the external edge of that face. Okay, that's fine, and my drive is going to be that plus that. Okay, okay, now Let's change that to 0.2. I would like to go, let's say, let's do one way and regions, okay? And in the tool axis control, I'm going to pick 2 point. And I want to select the point that my tool was always pointing the tip towards to, okay? And without creating the point, I'm going to select the center, for example, of that. So our point will be here. And during the cut, my tool will always pointing towards this point here. Okay, let me select the point. I'm going to select the center of this edge. And let's see, let's have a look. Okay, we've got our result and it looks good. Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to our next toolpath. And again, I'm going to use a morph, but we're going to see different way of controlling the tool motion again. Okay, I'm going to turn off material rendering, and now we're going to hit from this edge everything to the lower edge here. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to use a Morph Toolpath again. And let's select maybe 4 milli. Okay, and cut pattern, I'm going to select this edge. So I'm on the loop selection face, and when you go on the face and go towards the outside, it will highlight the whole edge, so you don't need to go around. Okay, and to pattern geometry 2, and as a pattern 2, and as a pattern 2, I'm going to select this edge. Okay, nice. And my dry surface is going to be over here. Okay, I'm going to select all that. I'm using the front view, windowed everything, and I'm going to deselect these two things. Okay, so these are my dry surfaces. Okay, all this around. Okay, so let's have a look at the toolpath. Let's go just half a mil at the moment, just to see if it works. And I would like to go spiral from the top to the bottom. And let's set our tool axis control. So I want to select from menu surface with tilt. Okay, and let's go. Let's do it. Okay, and I see visually the toolpath looks really clean and nice, but I know straight away that the finish point is outside my A-axis movement range. The start would be fine, but that will kick off outside my A-axis range on my very axis. Okay, so first what I have to do is add limits. So I don't want my A-axis to over tilt, to go outside my limit range, okay, of tilt. So I'm going to add some limits, and as soon as you activate the limits, you have a new page appears here, okay, as a subpage of tool axis control. Let's have a look into how it works, okay? So basically Z axis is our rotation axis, and I want to create a limit, and I want to create a conical limit, and I want my start of the tilt to be roughly, let's say, 80 degree. 90 is horizontal, so I want to go the second range to be 90 plus 10, let's say 100. As it is here, it is just a full 180, okay? It was from 0 to 180 range, but I want that to be about 100. And the cone axis, I want it to be on the Z axis. And let's have a look how that affects our toolpath. Let's regenerate the toolpath, and I'm going to pause the video so you don't need to wait with me. Okay, and as you see, the toolpath is different now, okay? And to see the difference, this is how it looked before. So you can see straight away that the limit worked fine. And let's have a look how that tool motion looks like. And as you see, the way it is programmed at the moment, the tool creates a lot of extra motion, a lot of Z-axis motions that I don't really want, okay? So what can we do? What can we do to limit this motion and have one smooth pass with the tool dropping into those small pockets? And now what we're going to do, we're going to use a method called clean core. But instead of creating the clean core inside and offset the toolpath to the surface, I'm going to create a surface outside and drop the tool onto the surfaces, okay, onto my cutting faces, my dries. Okay, so what to start with? We need to create extra geometry, okay? And I know that it is a round part, and we could use a fourth axis toolpath or multi-axis rotary toolpath to finish this. But as I'm presenting you different methods of controlling the tool during the cut, this is the next one on our list. First, I'm going to create new level, and I'm going to name tool axis control for op19 clean core. Okay, and as a clean core you can use a surface or a solid. Okay, so let's create first our base of our surface or a solid. Okay, and remember to be on the 3D plane. Okay, and let's go to wireframe, so go center point, and I'm going to pick the center of this arc here. Okay, that would be fine. So I created the circle in the center of that, and roughly of the diameter of this, but as long as it is greater than that diameter here, that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to go to extrude, and I'm going to extrude them. Okay, and let's say I'm going to go by 30 mil just to cover the surfaces that I want to cut. Okay, you can call it that way, so you'll know that in solids that is your okay. So now let's move on and let's select our toolpath. I want to select our Morph Toolpath again. Okay, and this time we're going to use different tool axis control. I'm going to use a formula. Select speeds and feeds. Holder, stock, we don't know, gonna use those. And as a cut pattern, my pattern from, I'm going to select curve, and I'm going to select this edge here. Okay, so I selected the top edge of the solid that I just created, of my clean core. Pattern 2, I want to go to the opposite side here. Okay, and my drive surface is just this one drive. Okay, just this one face, and in this case I can switch it off. Okay, because I already selected this. I'm going to leave this 0.5 at the moment as it is, just because I want to see the result faster. Okay, and then I'm going to modify it. And tool axis control, and as output format I'm going to use 5 axis and surface with tilt. Okay, and I'm going to switch off the limits that we have from our previous toolpath. Okay, and I'm gonna tilt the angle 10 degree, so it's going to be 10 degree here, and when we're going to move to the other side I'm going to tilt it to the opposite way. So I'm going to open the sub pages here. So my start point is plus 10 degree, and I want to gradually change it minus 20 degree, and this is the incremental change. And on the collision control page we are going to show Mastercam what we want to cut. Okay, but first we need to drop the tool onto our surfaces, and to do that I'm going to activate level 2. Okay, so at the moment our clean core is above our surfaces, around above our surfaces, and I want this tool to drop down onto the surfaces I want to cut. I want the result, the tool path, to be the same as on my clean core, so one smooth nice spiral. And to do that I'm going to activate second level of my collision control, and I'm going to check it only against the fluid. I'm going to switch off the rest of the segments of my cutting tool, and I want my tool to retract, and as action I'm going to do retract along surface normal. Okay, so this way Mastercam will drop the tool. I mean at the moment it's set to retract, but we will drop the tool onto our check surfaces that we select here. So here in this setup, the check surfaces are the surfaces that you want to machine. Okay, and I'm going to click Alt 2 shortcut on my keyboard, short keys. Okay, and I'm going to just select that. I don't want to cut that, that's already been machined, and not that. Okay, just to make sure that I haven't selected anything else. This is what I want to cut. So you see the red is what I want to cut. Okay, around. Okay, And at the moment our toolpath is set to retract from drive surface. So when you select this action here, you have another page, gouge check up, and options for moving tool away. Okay, I'm going to project tool on direction wherever needed. Okay, tick that, and I want to remove areas where my tool drop fails. That means when I'm dropping the tool from my drive surface, and if it's nothing underneath that drive surface, Mastercam will trim this toolpath. Okay, that has no chuck surface underneath. So as you know, we started our drive surface, our clean core from here, but we haven't got anything here, so Mastercam will trim this away. Okay, and in here I'm going to trim and relink toolpath, but not the drive surface, chuck surface, and I'm going to select this, let's say this, and this. Okay, and let's have a look into our linking. And as linking, I'm going to set everything here as automatic. I just want to make sure there is no roughing and no transform. No. Okay, that all looks good, and let's have a look at the result of our toolpath. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video, and this is our toolpath. There is another one thing that we need to change, but it is easier to show you than explain. I left it in purpose so you know what to change if that happens to you while you programming your different jobs using Clean Core. Let's run quick verify simulation, and I want to see the results, so I'm going to fast forward it to the end. Okay, I have my tolerance set to 0.05 millimeter, and I'm going to hit refresh, and look at this area here, and you see the tool drags away and just plunge a little bit too deep. Okay, so let's quickly fix it. Let's go back to parameters, to our tool axis, to our collision control, and we're going to trim contour for safe retract. Okay, select this option here, and now I'm happy. I'm happy with the toolpath. I'm going to change step over to 0.2. Let's see the result. Okay, this is our toolpath, and let's quickly run verify simulation to see if the issue is fixed. Okay, you remember what settings we changed, and again I'm going to use the compare option to see if we fixed the problem with our digging. Okay, and as you see, no more plunge, no more dig into the part. Okay, all green, and this is how it looked before. So you see the red line disappeared, no more collision. Now let's move on to our next toolpath. In our next toolpath, we are going to cut those three faces here, those three surfaces, and we are going to use different tool axis control method. We are going to drive our tool from chain. Okay, and because I like to keep things organized, I already prepared next level of my tool axis control for op 20, and this is where I'm gonna save my chains, and I call this tool axis control op 20 chain, so I know what is it for and what it is inside. Okay, and quickly in verify, select curve one edge, and remember to switch to 3D construction mode. And I'm going to select the top edge of this fillet here. So the top edge of this fillet here. Okay. Okay, yeah. And now I'm going to offset this edge twice, because I want to show you the difference when you select the chain that is close to your drive surface and the chain that is much more distant from your surface that you're going to cut. Select the chain, offset entity, and I'm going to offset this, let's say 10 millimeters, okay? And as I said, I'm going to offset this again, the original one, and this time I'm going to offset entity 100 mil. Okay, so we have one chain that is close to drive surface and one chain that is very far away. Okay, so let's create our next toolpath. I'm going to select Morph from our multi-axis gallery again, and I'm going to bring the reload parameters from default file. In a tool, I'm going to use 2 mil ball nose, mass speeds and feeds. Okay, and in a cut pattern, I'm going to select pattern from, and it's going to be curve. Okay, and my pattern from is going to be top of that fillet. I need to be on the solid mode selection, and this is my pattern from. Pattern 2 is going to be the bottom edge of the lower fillet, and my dry surfaces, I want to cut that, that and that. Okay, I want to go one way with 0.2 step over, and in the tool axis control I'm going to change to from chain, and I want to be the closest point. That means the tip is going to be on a drive surface, the cutting edge, and the tool will pass through the in the shortest distance through that chain here. To pick up the chain, I need to be on a wireframe mode selection and select the chain. Okay, let's see the toolpath. So this is our first toolpath, and as you see, the start point is almost horizontal, but the A-axis then moves to almost 40 degrees. Okay, so now let's compare it to the chain that is farther away. I'm going to copy this toolpath, and I'm going to change my chain. Okay, so go to from chain selection button, rechain, pick new chain, accept, okay, okay, and regenerate. I'm going to switch off my visibility of the level with the tool axis control with those chains, and let's compare it. You see, the start of my toolpath is almost horizontal, and when we cut through our surfaces, the exit is also almost horizontal. Okay, so the change in the A-axis on our 5-axis machine is not gonna be that big. And when you compare these two toolpaths to each other, you see that the distance of the chain from your drive makes a difference in extra multi-axis movements, in extra C and A axis motion. And you can see the difference on the machine simulation side by side. So left hand side is using the chain that is very close to our drive surfaces, and the simulation on the right hand side is the simulation of the toolpath that has a chain far away from drive surfaces. And you can see straight away the tilt is changing on the left hand side on the toolpath that the chain is close to the drive, and on the right hand side the A axis barely moves. The part is horizontal and without this extra A axis motion. In our next toolpath, I'm going to use clean core method again, and we'll create the core inside the part, use as a drive surface, and offset the toolpath along the tool axis onto our check surface that we want to cut. Okay, so to keep things organized, I created new level and I named the tool axis control for operation 22 and clean core, so I know what is inside. Let's go to wireframe, center point circle, and I'm going to do, let's say, 40 mm radius, and use this circle. When you highlight it, you have your proposition to create extrude the solid, what you want to use as a base. Okay, and let's say that I want to go somewhere, I don't know, let's say here. That should be fine. Okay, so this is our clean core and this is our part. So based on this toolpath, we are going up to this point somewhere here. Okay, let's go back to our toolpaths and select now our next one, Morph again. And I'm going to bring default settings from Mastercam default file. And let's start from the top. Let's use 6 mm ball nose, my feeds and speeds. Okay, and now let's move to cut pattern. And in the cut pattern page, my pattern from, I'm going to use curve. Okay, and I'm going to switch off for a moment visibility of 3D model and leave only clean core on the screen. And I want to go from this edge. Okay, I'm on the solid selection. Then I'm going to go to the as a pattern 2, I'm going to go to the other side of my solid, and as a drive I'm going to pick this. Okay, you can use a solid or you can use surfaces. Okay, and I'm going to change that to true spiral, and I'm going to leave this as 0.2. Okay, rest of the settings I'm gonna leave as default. In here I'm not going to change any settings in tool axis control. Let's go to collision control, and now I want to activate my second level of collision control, and I want to leave just 2 parts of my tool, of my sections of the tool selected, as a flute and shoulder. And as a strategy I'm going to use Retract tool, and I'm going to leave along tool axis. Okay, we need to deselect my drive surface because drive surface is the core, and in check surface I want to show what I want to cut. So we need to now switch on visibility of our 3D model and just turn off the clean core. Okay, and I'm going to move 3D model so I can window all my drive surfaces, I mean my check surfaces actually. Okay, and I don't want to have those selected, so I just have my 3D model, this section around, only those surfaces. Okay, only those faces. Okay, and I want to trim everything that is, again, I'm not gonna use dry surface, I'm going to use check surface. This time I'm going to window the faces that I don't want to cut. So I don't want to, my avoidance are all those faces. Okay, plus that. So the top part of the model is all my check surface. Okay, to trim off. And of course remember to have that ticked, and rest of the settings I'm going to leave as they are, as default. And let's have a look how it looks like, how our toolpath looks like. Okay, we have our toolpath, and let's quickly run the verify simulation to see if everything looks okay. Okay, almost finished. It went too deep. Okay, let's go back and fix it quickly. So let's go back to our toolpath and do modification. And I'm going to add those as my drive, okay, as my cutting surfaces, and let's regenerate the toolpath. And I'm going to cut the waiting time for during the regeneration. Okay, this is our result, and at first look it looks okay. Let's go to verify, and I'm going to verify last two operations to see the result of our clean core. Yes, and now it looks a lot better. Okay, so this is the last operation. We have all part program. This is the end of this screen holder tutorial, and if you like the video, please subscribe, hit the like button, and download your 3D model and practice with me. Okay guys, see you in the next video.